Hello everyone and welcome to day one, ignore the band-aid on my finger, welcome to day one of writing my very own romance novella. It is 3:54. I have a live stream happening on YouTube in 6 minutes, and I will be starting the whole process of writing my story. Basically, what you have missed thus far is I was on a call with Kiara and I was racking my brain and I was like, oh, I don't know what to write, and we were kind of tossing out ideas, and then we came up with the idea. This may or may not be loosely based off of my own personal love life, but the idea of meeting someone on a vacation. You have like a really great time, but then what do you do when vacation is over? And I think there's going to be a lot of fun to play with twists and turns, and I'm going to try and cram a ton of tropes in. I really want to play with tropes in this story, so that is what I'm doing. I'm dressed all Valentine's Day-like with my red and pink, and I will check in when I'm on the live and give you guys a bit of an update. I think it's also important to talk about how I am completely pantsing this story. I have like a few key moments that I know I need to hit, but I am not doing any kind of outlining. I am 100% just writing and seeing where it takes me. So I'm really excited. I haven't done this with a story in quite some time. I've always had some element of outlining or planning that I've done, so I'm really excited to get back to my roots, which is no planning whatsoever and just jumping straight into a story and seeing where it takes you. So I'm really excited to get going. I'm also excited how it takes little to no prep. I can just go for it, and I love stories like that, so we shall see. Alright, you guys, this is take 2. I royally effed up yesterday and thought that it was the 13th the entire day, and so I logged on to do the live and I started it and no one was joining, and I was really confused, and then I looked up and saw that it was in fact the 12th. So today is the day that I am going to be logging on for the live, and then you're blinded. So today's the day that I am going to be logging on for the live and actually starting my romance project. That just is, you know, a day late, totally fine. Hello all. So I am not going to lie. I have been low-key dreading writing this romance book, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I think I just, it's so, I'm trying to like say this the right way. It's so uninteresting to me to write. As I've talked about before, romance is one of my favorite genres to read, but it's definitely not my favorite, because I like some kind of action and adventure and all of that, and that's not to say that that can't be included in a romance story, but what my goal was with this is to write like a total cut and dry, like classic romance that hits as many tropes as possible. And I'm finding just it's so hard to sit down and feel motivated and inspired to write this story. And that's a weird thought because I write romance in my other books that I'm working on. There's elements of romance. It's not the main part of the story. It's like a side plot. It's really not any kind of, you know, driving factor in the stories that I write. And so I think this is just, it's definitely a challenge. I feel like this is a lot more of a challenge than Dystopian was, if I'm being honest. All this to say that I've been meaning to sit down. It's been about a week since we did our live, and I've been meaning to sit down and get some words on the page in this romance, or at least enough to like really kind of talk about my experience with writing it, but I'm just finding that I don't want to. Regardless, I am still going to give it my best shot. I am going to really sit down. I'm going to try and bang out a couple thousand words and just see where it takes me. I'm starting to think that maybe I should change up my story a little bit just to try something new and see if maybe my you know, lack of excitement is just because the plot that I had kind of worked out isn't necessarily what I truly want to write. So we're going to give it a go, but so far I did not think romance was gonna kick my ass like this, but it definitely is. So I'm going to give it another shot, for real. Okay, I feel a lot more excited once I actually got going, and I did a little 15-minute sprint, and I actually started working on something totally different from what I had originally planned. And I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I will write these like random one-liners, and I'll just like have them in my notes app or on like a Word document on my computer. And I recently kind of wrote this super short, like a couple lines bit about like falling in love. And it was just some random little thing that I'd come up with, probably like super late at night when I was supposed to be sleeping. But I decided, like, what if I kind of expanded on this a little bit and kept going with it? And I have, and I just got a full page of writing done based off of this one little one-liner that I had written who knows how long ago. So I think what I'm going to do is just scrap my original plan and see how this goes and kind of see where this takes me. And I was talking about this with my roommate, but I feel like maybe I'm just not meant to be writing like your classic cut and dry romance with all the tropes. I think maybe I need to approach this from an angle that I'm a lot more comfortable with. So I think this is actually going to be more like a story where a particular couple is like looking back at their relationship, but they're currently not together, kind of a thing. So I guess playing on that second chance, if you will, trope. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm completely scrapping my first idea, so this is great. This is super fun. I'm getting a lot of writing done though, so I guess it's working, the switch. It is now day, I don't even know, of writing this romance little novella. And I'm realizing a couple of things with this. Number one, romance definitely not my favorite genre to write to. I really enjoy writing when it's not the forefront of the story. But when it's the whole effing point, it's kind of like, this is a lot. Number two, I don't think I'm capable of writing a novella right now without any kind of, oh, someone's calling me. Hold on. Hi!
Okay, talk to you soon.
Alright, love you, bye.
Love you too, bye.
Okay, back to romance. I don't know, I'm just struggling a little bit with finding a story that I think really needs to be told and all of that. So I'm gonna keep going with the news story that I was working on yesterday. I'm gonna try and make a decent bit of headway and at least get like a couple chapters in to see if I can lay a good enough foundation to where I can walk away if I have to, and come back to it and not feel like I'm kind of just floating around with that. I'd like to, you know, have some kind of a base done. So I'm going to try and lay some of that foundation today, and then I will give y'all my final thoughts on writing romance and the romance genre in general. And that'll wrap up the genre project for romance, which is crazy. I wasn't recording, I'm sorry. I'm chatting with Kiara about this romance book that's kicking my ass. I don't know what
Have
else.
you told them about like all of the
spicy, dramatic changes you made to the original plot of the book.
No.
You should do that. You should explain the original plot and then what you did to it because you decided that you could not handle just a normal romance story.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're thinking of the original plot that was about the vacation. I'd already changed it from that to something else. So now...
I think you should talk them through your entire plot sequence. I think that would be very funny. Like, tell them what the plot was that we talked about, and then what you changed it to, and then what you changed it to again.
Okay. How do you feel about writing romance?
I mean, I want to. That I think is going to be my nano book this year. I've not decided because I now have like 15 works in progress. But Sarah would say that I don't like writing romance because I've basically cut so much of the romance out of our original book that we're writing right now. But I'm putting it in. I think my issue is I don't want characters falling in love in the first book. Like, I need a little bit of waiting time because...
Yeah, and that's what we're doing in my book, how we're totally, like, cutting all the romance from the first one and pushing it all to the second.
I'm one of those people that when characters get together, I do not want them to break up. Therefore, they need to have a sturdy foundation. Because I feel like if characters get together in the first book, you're not ready for it, they're not ready for it.
That's some friends to lovers shit right there, Kiara.
Yeah, so I need a good base before they can fall in love. So I will be having some sort of like love story in at least one of the books I'm working on right now. But it's probably going to be that same case where like they're denying their feelings. They don't get together until book 2, but they will.
I'm going to, whoa, zoomed in. Finish talking to Kiara, and then I'm going to make a tea and get a little snack, and then probably go outside and continue writing this story. And I will explain how we ended up from cute little summer romance to a super dark story that deals with addiction and loss. And all of that. It's not funny, but like, you know, I can't help myself. Oh, this is the most unflattering lighting ever. Oh God. I think that's a little better. It is late. It's 9 p.m. And I have not really been writing as much as I probably should have, but I will say that I did get a really good chunk written today. And as I mentioned on my little Zoom call with Kiara that you guys watched, this story has evolved so much. I initially wanted to write something that was super tropey, super fluffy, fun, lighthearted, feel good, like just classic romance. And that quickly evolved into a romance that was crumbling in a relationship that is on the verge of falling apart, and the couple then had to kind of reconcile with the fact that their relationship was no longer the light, fun, fluffy thing that it used to be. And then that took a turn with this couple hitting it off really great, and then it jumps about 6 years into the future, and the guy's mom is like an addict, and she's finally clean, and he doesn't want to see her, he doesn't want to do anything that has to do with her. And then the girl in the relationship has never had a mom in her life, and so she's like, I want to see her and I want her to be a part of our lives, and they're fighting. And I was like, what? Like, this was supposed to be like a fun, happy romance, and now I'm writing about mothers who struggle with addiction and like, oh my God, being estranged from parents. And like, I just keep wondering, how did we get here? Like, how did we get from this like cute, fluffy summer romance story to that? Like, what the fuck happened? And I think just what it boils down to is that I like stories that are just more than the romance. And when I look at some of my favorite, I'll use Christina Lauren actually, because their books and the ones that I've read so far, the romance, while it is a romantic book, the characters are going through so much. And in On Honeymooners, the main character has like lost her job and she's in the process of finding a new job, and that's still a big part of the story, and there's still a ton of character development that happens in their stories, and the romance is kind of growing along with them. And I love that because it's not just a fun, happy romance. And I think that's why I'm realizing that maybe romance isn't my strongest genre that I'm capable of writing. I definitely prefer to write a story where there's an entirely different plot going on and the romance is more of like a subplot. And that's perfectly okay. I'm really glad. I thought going into this, you guys, I thought that this was going to be a breeze, and I don't mean that in the sense that romance is easy to write. I'm not bashing on the genre at all. All I'm saying is that I thought that I was gonna be a really great romance writer and it was gonna come easily to me because I do love reading romance and I think it's so fun. But I'm just starting to think that maybe it's not fitting with my voice as an author, which is totally okay. Totally okay. I say this all in a Disneyland shirt, and I like am deeply in love with princess movies and Disney and love and happiness, but like when it comes to my writing style and my voice as an author and the stories that I'm passionate about telling, I just think that romance doesn't necessarily hit the mark. And that's fine. That's great. I'm glad that I've realized that. I will still probably share a little bit of what I have come up with you guys, maybe. I don't know. But I will say that I still am actively working on my dystopian book and I'm really loving how it's turning out, and I think I might be doing that for Camp Nano, so that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. Romance, maybe I'm not the author for that genre, but we'll see. There's plenty of other genres in the world, which is why I'm doing this project. I'm so glad that I've kind of discovered this about myself, because I never would have known. I truly thought that I was 100% capable of writing a good romance story, and I just don't think that I am the right person for the job. So sick. Love that. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I know it's not like a fancy outro or anything, but I wanted to kind of just sit and talk to you guys about my thoughts on this genre. I'm really glad that I have this now as one of my active works in progress, and I'm able to go to it when I feel like I need to step away from other projects, and I'm glad that this is just always going to be kind of on the back burner. And I've never said that in a positive light, but I'm glad that I have I'm glad that this project is on the stove. If you guys enjoyed the romance installment of the genre project, then feel free to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already, then go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Now go write something.